where would you rather be than LA, Miami, and New York? And like for me, Miami makes a lot of sense. I would love to be in Miami. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something inappropriate, but I'm not gonna say it on this.
I mean, yeah, I held back.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Melo's the role he didn't want in Oklahoma.
Carmelo Anthony drills it straight away.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, a podcast where we control the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast. And if you're a returner, a subscriber, or better yet, a Control the Narrative member, like the two fine gentlemen we have on tonight, we appreciate you as always. Hit that thumbs up button. It helps us get higher in your feeds and other people's feeds, and we can continue to control the narrative at a much broader scale. Second to last week, going through this team by team preview of how we think Melo fits with these different teams. We went over the Blazers, Lakers, Nets, Warriors. Tonight we're going over the Miami Heat. Next week, I think you probably know what the last team is, but we'll save that for next week. So to talk about how Melo fits and just this opportunity in Miami, I like to bring on two of Control's finest, the members, Joe and Kenny. My guys, how you guys doing tonight?
Good, man.
It's Doc. What's going on, baby?
Not much, bro. We were just talking off camera, and I was saying how both of their setups look way better than mine, and I'm the host of this, and that shit's not supposed to happen. Kenny and Joe both show me up, so appreciate you guys for making me look like shit on my podcast.
wasn't even on purpose, man.
Good to see you guys.
Really?
Let's get into this, man. We've been going week by week looking at different teams. Tonight, I messaged you guys. I was like, yo, do you guys want to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, or the Heat in terms of where you think is a better fit for Melo, and just what's more exciting to talk about? You both said Heat, and I kind of agree. So let's just quickly touch on the Bucks just so we can touch on it. Let's go 60 seconds each because this is the Heat episode. Joe, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think? And again, right now we're filming this Monday, and the finals is 2-1 in favor of the Suns. The Bucks could come back to win. They also could not. We don't know. But as it stands right now, how do you feel Melo would fit on the Bucks? And obviously, we know their opportunity to win. But just what are your thoughts on Melo to Milwaukee? Joe, 60 seconds.
I actually don't. I think Melo could fit on the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. It'll be a bench role, scoring punch off the bench. He'd be the feature man off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Run through him. You know what I'm saying? Again, the Bucks are a team that play defense as a whole. They get good on D. Melo can hide his kind of deficiencies on defense. That's a good thing. At that scoring punch, you know what I'm saying? Be that mentor to the young guys. Other than that, man, I don't see any other fit other than that. I don't like it. I don't think he would actually go there. You know what I'm saying? To try to get a chip.
Because Milwaukee or what?
Milwaukee, and I don't think he would do that. I think it's better fits for him for his last couple of years in the league.
I agree.
Personally. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right. Kenny,
what do you think?
I mean, I agree with you. I think he can fit there. Because you also got to think about it. They have Drew, and like him playing with a solid point guard. Of course, I always go back to the point guards because that they open the floor. And then if you do Drew and then you put Middleton and Melo on the floor at the same time, and then Giannis and then Lopez, that's a pretty good lineup if you think about it. Because that's a whole bunch of options you can go to. It's like they double team Middleton, kick the Melo kick the Giannis, or Brook. So it's that would be hard to really game plan for because you can't focus on one person.
Yeah,
because that's five guys. That's guys that can all score, take over a game at any given time. So I think I can see him fitting there, but I don't know if he's going to go there. Also, you gotta look at the city, and he's getting later in his career. So you know, you want to find a city that you think you would want to be in. So,
but do we really trust the head coach?
That too. That's another thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Get him where you want to go. Do we trust Budenholzer like that? I don't know what I do.
Great question. Real quick on the Milwaukee front, obviously they have a great opportunity to win. They're 3 wins away from an NBA championship right now. I think the fit works with Melo being another guy that can get them a bucket. Like Giannis, obviously we know what he can do. Middleton's their probably best ISO scorer, and the guy when they need a bucket, you just give him the ball and like, yo, let's go. So to have Melo off the bench, that makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day, especially if they win from Melo to go to a team that just won, that how much would that ring really mean next year? And then also living in Milwaukee, yeah, probably not going to happen. But just wanted to touch on it because that's been something that people talked about. So let's get into Miami. Miami Heat. Melo should have been a member of the Heat in 2010, if we're all being honest with each other. Fucked up the contract extension with the Denver Nuggets, and Chris Bosh took his spot. That team went on to 4 straight finals and winning 2 of them with that trio of LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh. So 11 years later, Kenny, we'll start with you on this one.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of his fit with the Miami Heat, we know they still have the head coach of Eric Spoelstra. Their core, again, we're going to assume is Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Victor Oladipo, Tyler Hero. Who knows what's going to happen with Duncan Robinson and shit. But what do you think of his fit with the Heat?
I actually think that he can fit there too, because you have Ariza there, but he probably could replace Ariza. Also, they have Iguodala. You know, Iguodala he's getting older. There's no telling what he still can do. Going into next year. But I definitely see he can fit there because you have Oladipo, Hero, Nunn. He helps him. Who else? Of course, Butler. You know, he's close with Butler, so you know they would definitely try to make it work with each other. You gotta see what the Dragon's going to do if he's going to be there. So
I forgot about him.
Yeah, I definitely see. And then Bam, like that's just that's you know there's no words for that. You know, it's just Bam. He does what he does. So it was like put him alongside him. It's just so many different rotations and options that they can like squeeze him into in the game plan. So and Spoelstra, I mean, he's a pretty good coach, and he does utilize players when he's supposed to utilize them. So I definitely could see him going there. So he definitely will have a chance winning there. And in the East, there's not a lot of people in the East.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Night in and night out, there's not a lot of let's be serious. He would definitely dominate the East. I could definitely see that happening. So I definitely see him fitting in Miami.
Word. Joe, what do you think?
For me, I got a couple of different points I want to make. Number one, I do think Melo will be a good fit, a really good fit in Miami. Like I said earlier, Miami's known for playing good, solid defense. They got 2 studs on D already in Bam and Jimmy B. Jimmy B is a 2-way player, all-star kind of player, right? Bam is solid. Then you throw in Precious Achiuwa, solid defensive player, and Dwayne Dedmon, right? So, you know, put Melo in that mix, they can hide his deficiencies on D to some extent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And also, from the offensive standpoint, Melo can come in and really pick him up. Example, take the playoffs recently this year, right? Against the Bucks. They got swept 4-0, right? Games 2, 3, and 4. Games 2, lost by 34 points. Games 3, lost by 29 points. Yeah. Game 4, lost by 17. Right. Throw Melo in that mix with a couple more pieces, we could have a different outcome. Think about that. Because Jimmy Butler struggled that series, man. He wasn't scoring like he usually would do.
Yeah.
Then, man, Bam ain't scoring, and it's over.
Yeah.
But throw in that mix, man, with some other pieces, they could be all right. They're the top 3 seed already with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think, man, he can really help them. He can fit in well with that system, man. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
I think fit wise, there aren't many teams that Melo fits better with than the Miami Heat.
Yep.
I think you look at defense and like Joe, you said it, and a lot of people say this, like to hide Melo's defense. You said, would you say deficiencies or something? Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't. We know this. Melo's not like a terrific defender where they're like, yo, if you can't have him on the court, whatever. But like to have a strong defensive team around him helps so much, and especially when one of those great defenders is a big. Like we look at Denver, and you had Kenyon Martin who was guarding the rim, Chris Anderson, the Birdman. Then you look at New York where he had Tyson Chandler for all those years, and I don't want to say he always needed, but he always thrived with bigs who guarded the rim. They had that in Portland last year with Whiteside. They didn't have that this year, and they really struggled in terms of guarding the rim and just obviously everywhere defensively. So great defensive team, Miami. They can use another ISO scorer. Like they have
Absolutely.
Butler. Bam is good in the post. Hero can do some things. Oladipo, solid player. But having Melo to come off the bench and running the offense through him, and I need to touch on this because I feel like this is one of the most important parts of this fit with Miami is Eric Spoelstra. He is not scared to utilize the mid-range, and he actually embraces it. I remember there was a video I posted on Control a while back where he was saying like, he was teaching like kids in a camp or some shit. He was like, everybody now, it's all about threes or layups and like three is this, but what people understand is when you're going for threes and layups, there's one part of the floor that's open, and that's the mid-range. And he's like, of course, you shoot a higher percentage taking a fucking layup than you do shooting a jumper from the elbow. But at the end of the day, if they're open looks from a good mid-range shooter, you take that shot, not every single time, but you take that shot whenever it's available. A lot of times you will get that. And I feel like Melo under Spoelstra with a good defensive team around him, you can't ask for much more than that.
You can't, man.
In terms of a fit.
And think about this, man. Listen, playing for Miami, you gotta change your game a little bit, even at age 37, because Pat Riley don't play. You gotta be in shape. Yeah. You gotta trim body fat, all that good stuff. So you think about this, Melo, in his twilight of his career, you gotta come in shape. If you ain't coming in shape, we gonna get you in shape.
Yep.
With Pat Riley and Coach Spo, he don't get there.
Accountability.
Yep.
Exactly, man.
Like they didn't have in Portland. And that's not saying that Melo was out of shape in Portland, but like he fucking was called Skinny Melo back in the bubble. But you saw like on offense and defensively, there was no accountability from the coaches.
Zero.
Dame, a great leader, but they didn't have that vocal guy who would get in people's face and be like, yo, let's go. Like Jimmy Butler, obviously, like Spoelstra and all those guys. So I think it makes there aren't many teams that make more sense fit-wise than the Miami Heat, in my opinion.
And you know what? You bring up a good point. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Jimmy Butler,
go ahead.
He hold people accountable. If you out there BSing, not playing at the par, or you ain't playing D, he's going to tell you. You have to acknowledge that. He's an all-star, all-defensive player, right? You got to acknowledge that. Let your game up. You know what I'm saying? You have to.
Yep. Kenny, any final thoughts on that, or you good?
Yeah, and also D-Wade might help him with the system and stuff too, because he's been there for so long. He might help him get adjusted a little bit, even though he's with Utah, but he still could, he can call him and ask him, well, how's this, how's that, with them being close, he can help with him being there for so long. So
great point.
And then let's not forget Haslam's still there too. Like even if he doesn't come back, Haslam.
Oh yeah,
he's still there too.
Yep.
So it's like it's so many different, like I said, so many different options for them in Miami that could really help him.
But think about this, guys. Think about this. In Miami, we know that Miami has two primary scorers, and Bam and Jimmy Butler. Right? Think about this. You add Melo to the next 3 Jimmy scores to that in the East.
And Oladipo too.
I'm about to say, a healthy Oladipo.
Healthy.
Right.
You gotta if he can
Come
play the
on,
whole
man.
season or play more than
Exactly.
40 games.
With that
then,
in the East,
yeah. And then
it's
don't
tough,
forget
man.
about
Top three
Hero.
seed.
Hero's still there too. He can light it up too.
Yeah.
So
And Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson too. So it's like
I think he's a free agent, Duncan, but
Is he really?
okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's talk about the Knicks having interest in him.
Okay.
Let's get into that though. Them being in the East and everything. We know we were just talking before we pressed record that in the East we have Brooklyn, you have Milwaukee, you have Philly.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks were the 4th seed this year. Then you have Atlanta, who will probably be a higher ranking seed next season.
They have a lot of free agents too, though.
They do. Atlanta does. So you look at those teams and you think you have some solid teams. There's no Lakers in the East. There's no even Clippers, to be honest with you. Anyway, we'll start with you, Joe, on this one. In terms of the opportunity to win in Miami, what do you think if Melo goes there and they keep this core intact, their opportunity to win a championship is next season?
Well, I think for Melo, if he goes to Miami, man, to come out of the East is the main point first. You get the East Conference Finals first to get there.
Right.
How to get there, and that nucleus is intact with Bam, Jimmy, and then Nunn. He's an upcoming star, man. He can ball. Shot time product. He can ball.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then don't forget about Dragan. What's it? Dragic?
Goran Dragic.
Yeah, get buckets.
Underrated.
You know, and again, you add Melo to that mix, man. Think about that. All that firepower, and they play D. The opportunity was there, and they can get a top 3 seed.
Yeah,
they missing that firepower. Jimmy Butler needs help. Bam needs help.
Yep.
And they get third score.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I think adding Melo to that mix, man, put them over the top. To that top of 2-3 seeds they need to be in the East to go far.
Can they win a championship next year?
Huh?
Can they win a championship next year?
If they add Melo and some more pieces, yes. It depends on what they add.
Right.
Not adding Melo won't get them there. They need some more pieces. Because we saw this past playoffs, Jimmy Butler can't do them by himself. Bam can't do them by himself. They need more help.
Yep.
They solid on D, but they need more offensive power, in my opinion.
Sounds familiar, like another team in the East.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Do they wear blue and orange?
Blue and orange and white, I think it's the colors.
Okay.
But kind of similar to Joe's shirt a little bit. But yeah,
okay.
Kenny, what do you think about the Heat's opportunity to win next year?
It all goes back to who else they add, because you got to see. It's like I say, Iguodala, you don't know if he's coming back with him being growing up in age, and then Haslam, it's no guarantee he's coming back. You got to see if Ariza is going to come back. So it depends on who's coming and who they add. It's and he goes after. I don't think he's afraid to spend the money if he has to get the players. So it just depends on who else is around him. Because Jimmy Butler wouldn't be as exhausted. Because you seen he'd be exhausted, man. Like he gives all.
Like in the finals.
Did you see him against the Bucks?
Yeah, man. He's about to pass out, man. He gives it his all, man. And because with me living in Philly, and I've been to a couple of games with him playing in Philly. Like you've seen it, he wants to win.
100%.
He wants to win. He's a dog. You seen him in the huddle, like getting after him. Like he wants to win. And like I said, with him and Melo being close, like that definitely will help them out too, man. Because
they are, yeah.
He just wants to win. It's like whatever they add plus Melo, then sky's the limit. Because the NBA is there's no telling who can win now. There's not like the one season you had 2 teams you knew were automatically all right. Well, they'll be in the finals. I just watch them when the finals come. It's not like that anymore. You never know. Night in, night out. There's a lot of surprises, and upsets, and all kinds of stuff.
Exactly, B.
People come out of nowhere, so it's like you just never
Like
know.
the Heat last year.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Think about this, guys. Think about this. The Heat got swept against the Bucks, man. They didn't win a game.
Right.
And out of that 4-game set, they got blown out 3 of the 4 games. Right?
Yeah.
And like you said, to your point, Kenny, Jimmy was deserted, man.
Yeah.
Game 2, he played 32 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds. That ain't Jimmy.
No.
Right?
Nope.
Game 3, 38 minutes, 15 and 8. I mean, that's all right, but that ain't Jimmy like
15 and 8, you said?
19 and 8.
You know what I think is I'm torn as I'm hearing you guys talk about it, because I look at it and I hear, Jimmy Butler needs more help, and he's a dude who he's exhausted because he plays both ends of the court with such energy. That's why, like, he's not a dude who just goes out there and scores.
Right.
You look at Bam. Bam is a guy who plays both ends of the court with a lot of energy. So you look at those two being your 2 best players, and then being two-way players, which is great. Like, that's what you want, obviously. But in the playoffs, when you need a bucket and Jimmy Butler is guarding Donovan Mitchell on one end, and then obviously that would be in the finals, but he's guarding a guy like Donovan Mitchell, and then on the other end, he's required to go and get your team a bucket. It makes it that much harder. So I think having Melo there, where like he's not the best defender in the world, we'll say that he doesn't suck like everyone says, but he's not the best defender. But for a guy like Melo to like, for his one job to be like, yo, when we need 2 points,
give me a bucket.
Go out there and give us 2 points. That's where I think he could. And I don't want to say, oh, Melo will be the difference between this team getting swept in the first round to like making the finals. Like, no, I don't think that. But I think he would help a lot. And I think their team feels a lot different with an ISO guy, a historically great ISO guy. Still, I don't care what anybody says, on their team. But with all that being said, my mindset in going through all these teams and being like, yo, does Melo fit here is, one, does he fit here? He makes so much sense. And then 2, are they guaranteed to be a championship contender? And like both of you guys said, I think it depends on a lot of shit. What's going to happen with Duncan Robinson? Is what's good with Andre Iguodala? Like, what's this guy doing? What's that guy doing? And then plus, like, is that trio of Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and Victor Oladipo good enough to compete with the Brooklyn Nets, the Milwaukee Bucks, even the 76ers? Like, they got to the finals last year in the bubble, so you can give them all the credit you want. I don't want to say it was a fluke, but like they got swept first round this year, and this Bucks team is in the finals. Like, it's not like a team that got knocked out next round, but I just don't think they're guaranteed to be a championship contender in terms of being able to beat Brooklyn and Milwaukee and Philly. And for me, that is one of the check boxes that I would personally like to see Melo check off before he makes his next decision, is if they aren't a championship contender, guaranteed to be one, and they don't play in Madison Square Garden, I don't think it makes sense.
Because in the 11 games, Miami, this is their 5. They used Bam, Ariza, Butler, Nunn, and Robinson. That was 11 games they ran with that 5. And then I forgot about, they still have Olynyk too.
Yeah.
So that's another big too, that it would take some of the pressure off of Melo too. I don't know, man. It's just, I definitely see him fitting though.
All right, let's do this. They add a few pieces. Obviously, other teams add a few pieces. Where do you guys, again, it's so hard to do this before free agency, but like this is the whole point of like we trying to predict or like, say where Melo fits best. Where do you guys see Miami? I want like a seed number next year in the East.
Seed. I say at least 3 or 4.
3?
3.
Yeah, you know what? I can say 3 or 4. Yeah.
I was going to say 5.
Again, you add Melo to that mix, man. You bring that quarterback, and Spo play the right lineups at the right times, and Spo's he's a guy that's gonna do that. I see 3 or 4.
I'm going 5, just because you look at Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Philly, I think will have a better record. You look at Atlanta, which with this playoff run that they had, if they add another piece or two, obviously like they're close. They're close.
You just have to see what they do though, because they like 3 of their 4 core guys are
free agents now. Yeah, exactly.
So with them playing and making the playoffs, you got to see what who they bring back. That's the only thing. I was like, Atlanta, I don't know.
Come on, guys. Listen, I'm gonna say this. Are we really sewn on Brooklyn Nets? The Brooklyn Nets team? Are we sewn? I'm not so sure on Kyrie no more, man. He kind of sketchy now, man. I can't. It's changing. My view on him is changing.
James has to play too, man.
Hey,
are you guys talking about strictly health? Or are you guys talking about whether they fit together? What are you talking about?
Both.
Fair.
Because it's like one night, one or the other is taking over. It's not like I don't think Kyrie's ready to substitute.
Cohesive.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not ready to substitute. He's not ready to give up his, he going to get his regardless. KD's more of that, I'll substitute and help y'all out. James Harden, he's been better, more a team player now versus when he was in Houston. He was just shoot. He doesn't do that as much. He's more a facilitator now in Brooklyn. But Kyrie, he going for his.
I don't know what Kyrie's on these days, man. I just don't know, man.
You don't know if he's gonna come play or not. It's like he might wake up one day. You know what? I don't feel like playing today. I'm not coming.
Exactly, man. It's a wild card, man.
I don't feel like playing today. I'm not coming.
Valid. That's a valid question.
One night, my knee hurt. Next night, mental issues.
Right.
I'm physically think.
Fair questions. Fair questions. I just think it's impossible to predict that shit. So, like, you look back at the Nets and Bucks in Game 7. If Durant's toe is 1.5 inches back, they beat the Bucks, and they're probably in the finals right now. And that's without Kyrie, and that's with obviously a hobbled Harden. It's like if one of those two guys is good, I still think they're so fucking tough. And you guys know I'm a diehard Knicks fan. That hurts me to say that. But I think that team is so tough, and like I just compare every opportunity to Brooklyn and LA because I'm like, in terms of chances to win next year, I think those are the top 2.
But you gotta see who else LA brings back too.
Yeah,
Schroeder's going to be gone. They probably get Kuzma. Caldwell Pope.
Kuzma's gone. They traded him.
Yeah, so it's like you got to see who they bring back to surround them too.
And then also Jared Dudley coming off that torn meniscus. You got to see what's good with him and if he could be that cheerleader on the bench that they need to advance in the playoffs. Like he was.
You're wrong for that,
bro. I saw some picture. I saw some picture of LeBron and like his friend group with Bad Bunny, and Jared Dudley's there chilling with LeBron and like his friends. Like him and LeBron are like close like that, and I just think that's so fucking wild.
To say they gave him a contract other than Melo. Come on, Jerry.
I'll never get over that. I'll never get over that.
Don't get me started on it, yo. For real. I'm done.
Another thing we talk about every week is what living in the city would be like. We quickly touched on Milwaukee. Melo does not seem like a Milwaukee guy to me. I don't know about you guys. But I think we should all be on the same page here. What do you guys think about Melo? What do you guys think about what Melo thinks about living in Miami? And or you can take this as like, how would you feel about living in Miami?
I would never be against living in Miami.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a
Melo lived in OKC for a year. If you live in OKC for a year, you can live in Miami.
OKC, Houston, and then Portland.
Right. Well, Portland that's like wine country. So that's like heaven for him right now.
Yeah. Portland's not bad. I lived there for a year, man. It's not bad at all though.
Yeah.
It's better than OKC for sure.
Compared to Miami though?
But Miami's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Whole nother level.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with Miami.
You
Anything
can
like
never go wrong with that.
you can go to
Yep.
Miami for a weekend and you'll be good. Like it's you just
Facts.
never go wrong with Miami. It's,
100%.
Yeah. Well,
That's
one thing.
an easy one right there.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing we talk about every week is like, yo, he wants to be involved in his son's life in terms of basketball and all this shit, and like that's why New York, Brooklyn, and the Knicks are so attractive to him. But like, besides LA, like Miami, where the fuck would you rather where would you rather be than LA, Miami, or New York? And like for me, Miami makes a lot of sense. I would love to be in Miami. I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something inappropriate, but I'm not gonna say it on this.
I mean, yeah, I held back.
I was gonna say the type of girls who live in Miami, I would not mind that at all. And then also for Melo, like just being in fucking Florida and sun every day.
Yep.
I don't really think there's anything more that needs to be said.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Only thing that would get me is the hurricanes and that kind of stuff. But other than that, I remember
scary
that
shit
happen.
down there sometimes.
Yeah, so that's about it though.
No doubt.
All right.
No doubt.
What was that? Like 40 seconds we went over that? Let's move on to what do you guys need to see? I forgot who we started with last time. Let's start with Kenny on this one. What would you guys need to see from the Miami Heat for this opportunity to make sense for Melo? So like, do you need to see him be promised a role? Do you need to see them trade this guy for this guy? Do you need to see just what do you need to see, Kenny, for this to make sense?
For them to be upfront with him, like let them know what his role is coming in, what they want from him, what the plan is. Maybe give him insight on who like to play with, pretty much. Like give him give us your thoughts on how you feel about this player or how you feel about this guy coming to play with you. It just has to be. You got to be upfront with him. That's all he asks is like be upfront with him when I come.
Yeah.
Like let me don't have me come thinking I'm going to be a starter and then you got me deep in the end of the bench. Like don't do that. So that's what I would need to see. Like just be upfront. Like let them know what the plan is, what the system's going to be, like what you think is going to happen, what you want to happen, and what you see. So just be upfront, and if you can do that, then I'm happy with it. I have no problem with that, no issues with that. So,
all right, Joe, what do you need?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on what Kenny said. Just be transparent and be upfront with him about his role. But for me, man, to be 100% honest with you guys, man, I think, man, he should be starting for Miami.
Yeah.
If he decides to come to Miami, whatever, he should have a starting job.
yeah,
Think about this. The power forward spot, who they gonna start with Melo? They gonna start Precious Achua, Ariza, this dude Belangi, whatever his name is I can pronounce right now. Who they gonna start in front of him? So he should have a starting spot, man. Think about that.
yeah.
I think
they're gonna probably say the same thing that Portland said and that Houston said, that like they want defenders in the starting lineup and then him to come off the bench and just go against the second stringers and get buckets. Not what I believe, but I'm playing devil's advocate.
okay, but that happened this past season, and then they went to the playoffs, but still to have that three-headed monster with Bam, Jimmy, and they needed that third scorer to play that role. I think Melo is that person. I think he should start. I think also that for that to happen, I think Jimmy Butler and Bam need to be set up on it. Because I think they need to be on the same page. Melo, we want you, Jimmy, from Jimmy and Bam, saying that to Melo, we want you. Pat Riley, Coach Spo, we want you to come in, be that third scorer, be our stars, power forward, what it may be. Everybody be on the same page, so he know, like Kenny, coming into it, this is what it's going to be.
Yep.
And I'm trying to tell you, I think that if that can happen, Melo would think long and hard about playing for Miami this year, man. I really think that.
I can see it. For me, first of all, let me go on the record by saying I don't think this is gonna happen, what I'm about to say. But for me, the only way this makes sense in my eyes is if they trade Victor Oladipo for another guy who can put the ball in the hoop alongside Melo.
Like who, for example?
This name came to my mind. Obviously, it would not be straight up, but like Bradley Beal. Let me think of another name. A guy who I should have had somebody ready. I don't. NBA scoring leaders. Let me say, 2021. Just because like when you have those two guys, your two best guys, be two-way players like I was talking about, it's just so hard. Zach LaVine, another guy just popped into my mind. Somebody like that who can put the ball in the hoop and takes pressure off Jimmy Butler, so now Jimmy Butler can go and be 2 times as much of a dog on D. Pause. Bam can go and be 2 times as much of a dog and shit like that. Melo can come in, and also if Jimmy Butler needs to only put up 15 a night, he could do that. Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal could put up 25, north of 25, whatever. Melo can come in, put up 15, 16. So that's where my mind goes. From everything that we've heard, it seems like the Miami Heat really, really like Victor Oladipo, and that Pat Riley's a huge fan of his.
Yeah.
And they obviously just traded him for at the end of the season. So I don't think it'll happen. But for me, and the reason I'm saying this is because I can't trust Victor Oladipo, 1, to be healthy, and then 2, to really be that guy who can carry the load when Butler doesn't have it. Like I don't think Oladipo can go out there and put up, 35 points and average 35 in a playoff series, but I think Bradley Beal can. I think Zach LaVine can, and then that would take a lot of pressure off, and it would allow those guys to just focus on defense way more and not, like you guys both mentioned before. We saw Jimmy Butler in the finals, like slumped over the little ad or whatever that was. So yeah, I think I like Victor Oladipo. I think he's a really good player, but has just historically not been able to stay on the court. And when he does, I don't think he is that guy that the Miami Heat need alongside Jimmy and Bam.
I got a question for you guys. I know I'm a question and a comment. I know Bam Adebayo was not a big deal with Miami Heat. Was it last year?
I think so.
Yeah. Would you guys rather have Bam Adebayo or Christian Wood?
I'm still going Bam.
Would you?
Yeah.
And why? Because of the
Chris. You talking about from Houston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't, because to me, he only had that one good year that was really like, but Bam has been solid since he's pretty much been in the league to me. And it's like every year he's gotten better, and he's been more of a solid defender. Like he's getting better offensively. Like he's really been like helping them out, and he's been another go-to, because Christian Woods, he's in Houston, so it's not really.
But he was balling in Detroit too.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wait, important question though, Joe.
He's up and coming, man. Watch out for him.
Do we are we talking about on the Heat, or are we talking just in general?
On the Heat. The only way I would slide towards Adebayo, because he gets assists out. He not only does he score, rebound, but he gets assists out too. He can get triple-double as well. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Christian Wood gets double-double every night. So I was slayed with Bam on that end.
Yeah, I agree with Kenny. I think Bam. I think Christian Wood is still underrated. I think if he was on a team like if he was on the Knicks this year, or if he was just on like a real contender this year, he would be getting. Yeah. But obviously, he's in Houston. The Rockets are, down the tubes right now. Makes me very happy to say that. But yeah,
I think he's gonna say that before, because Bam, man, he had some off nights, man. Especially in the playoffs this past season. Yeah, he had some off nights, man. Whereas we really needed him to step up and be that second man. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't come through. But Christian Wood, he a dog. He'll get you 20 and 10.
I really believe it's because they have to play such hard defense.
Yeah.
On the other end, and like a theory of mine, it could be true, it could not be true, but like I would like to see what happens if they brought somebody in who can help Butler and Bam offensively so that they can focus more on that end.
They need help, man. 100%.
Yeah. And I think Melo can, but like they're not going to give Melo like 20 shots a game, 18 shots a game. So it's like,
no, I feel that 100%.
Word. All right. We have reached the end of this podcast, almost 40 minutes in. Shout out to the YouTube comments who make fun of me that I repeat the same outro every single time. But
I got a quick question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
So now that I don't see Phoenix losing, so it would be CP, LeBron, and Wade. All of them have championships. You don't think that'll be Melo's motivation to win one this year?
A lot of people are saying that.
I think that will be way more motivation. Like he'll come back 10 times more focused, trying to get that championship, to not be the only one out the group, to not, because I don't know about me. Like me and my boys, I would definitely rub that in your face. Like
100%, man.
We chilling, we hanging out, and I'm like, oh, remember that time we won championships? You didn't. Like just little stuff like that. So I definitely think it'll be motivation for him.
It's
to go
tough,
after
man.
him. So
it's tough. I think that's definitely going to be a factor in terms of where Melo signs this summer.
Yeah.
And I tweeted this out. Fuck it, let's talk about this for a second. I tweeted this out, and I was talking about how everyone is like on Chris Paul's dick now that he's about to win a championship, and like I've been a Chris Paul fan like for years. I have his Hornets jersey in my closet, and like the funniest thing to me is how everybody is like, oh, Chris Paul, like where does he rank all time now that he looks like he's going to win a championship, as opposed to 2 years ago or 3 years ago when the Rockets were one healthy hamstring away from making the finals. And like you look at how people were talking about Chris Paul last year and how they're talking about him this year, and it makes no sense because he's still the same fucking player. It's just the situation that he got put in
100%
at this time in his career. So like for people to be like, oh, yo, Chris Paul has a ring now, like where does he rank all time? It's like he ranks the same as he did last year. Like what the fuck? Because he was put in a really, really good situation, now all of a sudden that makes him a better player. Like he was doing this shit with James Harden. He was doing this shit with David West in New Orleans and Tyson Chandler. He was doing this shit in LA with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and Austin. And like he's always been this caliber of player. And now for people to be like, oh, yo, Chris Paul, like NBA champion now, it's like that validates his career. Nothing else he's done over the past 15 plus years of his career has validated it. Like now this, when he's playing with Booker, and like not saying that they're carrying him whatsoever, but like now that he's in a good situation with Booker and Ayton and a good coach and all this shit, now like you want to be like Chris Paul. It's so stupid to me. And that's why for me personally, like I get it. It's the narrative of like, let's say Melo goes to the Lakers next year and the Lakers win. You know what people are going to say? Oh, Melo, he's an NBA champion, man. Like, you know, NBA champion Melo. And like, I get it. Like, I get it. I understand that. But for me personally, I think a lot of people value that shit too much. Like Robert Horry, 7-time world champion. Yep. Like, does that mean he's better than Michael Jordan? Because Michael Jordan won 6. It's like, it's like shit like that. That like, it's really annoying. Adam Morrison has a championship. Does that mean he's a better player than Carmelo Anthony? Like, come on with this shit, bro. Like,
right.
Yeah,
but like, I get what you're asking, Kenny. Like, 1,000%. Especially his closest friends, LeBron, Wade, and Chris Paul. All we'll see what happens in this finals. But looking like it's gonna be 3 out of 4 who have a championship, and Melo being the lone guy. It fucking sucks. Like it fucking sucks.
Yeah, so. I'm not gonna get into my Chris Paul collection. That could be another podcast too. I'm gonna break that out on you.
Oh man, Kenny, jeez.
I needed a rant for a minute, man.
Yeah, you know what, guys? My narrative. I want to pick it back off what Kenny was saying, man. Like, think about this. But like guys said, banana boat crew, D Wade, LeBron, Melo, CP3. They all been to NBA Finals now, right? And now CP3 is on the verge of winning his first finals. So all that's left is Melo.
Yep.
So now it's time we get Melo on the right team to get his opportunity to get that chip, get to that finals. Yep. It's all about right now this last year or two. He needs to get on that right team to make that happen, B. He has to.
that year he had Chauncey in Denver, man. If they didn't run into prime Kobe and them, man, they would have won it that year. I just didn't see nobody would have beat them. If they didn't have their roadblock there, man, they would have won, man.
And the Lakers smacked the shit out of the Magic in the finals.
Yeah.
So like the Nuggets lost in 6, the Magic lost in 5. And then also you go back to that Anthony Carter inbound pass with Lamar Odom defending it. I believe the Nuggets were down 2 or 3 with like 30 seconds left. Yeah, the Nuggets had the ball. He throws it away. The Lakers go. I think Kobe got fouled, actually. They were like trying to dribble it out. You look at 2013, still like if JR is not out. Anyway, we could go on for fucking hours. Yeah, Kenny, you got a narrative to control?
No, I don't really have a good one this
fair. That's fair.
Man, you know, man, I'm gonna say this again. I think, man, at the end of the day, Melo best shot of getting a chip with the Portland Trailblazers.
That's a bold take, though.
And get some more pieces, a couple more pieces. Because I think now O'Shea's under the gun. He know Dame is pissed. And he know Dame will give him 1, maybe 2. I'm thinking 1 more year to put pieces around him to win this thing, get to the finals at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he don't, Dame's gonna leave, man. He gonna leave.
100%.
And one of those stipulations, Melo must come back. They know he needs Melo to run this shit back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you guys, man.
Yep. That's
We'll see what happens. We'll see if it happens at the end of every episode. I think we've been doing this. I don't know for everyone, but just go quick roundabout. Joe, do you think Melo's going to go to the Miami Heat?
No.
Kenny?
I still say Portland is where he stays.
Man, I can't believe you guys are saying that. I think he's like, I watched the Billups interview, press conference and all that, and like, nobody mentioned Melo's name once. Like, he seems like he's not.
Well, he can't though. He's a free agent. He's down a contract.
Yeah.
About that, he didn't mention Nurk either. He mentioned CJ and Dane.
Yeah. What's going on in the group? What is talking about Mills? They're talking in the group chat, the control group chat, Discord. If you, Patty Mills 22. I don't know. If you're not in the control Discord group, go sign up to become a member. CTRLthenarrative.com. You guys, I don't think Kenny, you might be in it. Are you in it?
Yeah.
I think I remember Kenny. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember a bunch of times.
Hop in there, bro. We got some good convos going in there. So yeah, man, that about does it for this. What are we? 78th episode, man. We're getting fucking up there. It's pretty wild. 78 episodes. And also, last thing, Joe, when you said Melo's last year or two, like, I don't know why that hit me when it was like, yo, like 2 years max he has left.
I think so.
It's pretty wild. Pretty wild.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, appreciate both of you guys for showing me up in terms of your setup tonight, and for hopping on the pod for a little bit. And always love hopping on here and talking with you.
Jack, my new connect, man. I'm hot, you, B. For real.
Okay, hit me up. I got you, bro. I got you.
I got you, B.
No doubt.
Melo, homies.
All right, man. Peace out, man.